Meowdy and welcome. My name is en-viss, my pronouns are they, them, and this is Stitching Zenith. Hello friend, welcome. I'm happy you can join me today. I hope that you're doing well and that you've been able to enjoy your crafting hobbies. It's important to find joy right now, where we can, so even if it's small, it's important. Today, I'm going to be talking about the progress that I've made since I last talked to you guys in January, with the January start that I did, one of which is going to be a gift, so I'm trying to prioritize that. I'm also using physical patterns for the first time, and 2 are from Magical Cross Stitch book. I've tried to make it a little bit easier by taking pictures and uploading them into my iPad using Procreate, so I'm having mixed results with that, and I'll talk about them in a minute. Let's start with finishes though. I have 2 FFOs, actually. Not just finishes, but actual fully finished objects. My first official one was the geometric gorilla that I had gifted for a coworker for Christmas. I haven't done anything really since then. So this is my first FFO for myself ever. I framed Tiny Apothecary, so this is gonna go up on the wall somewhere, probably next to my work desk. Fortunately, the glare is not awful. Let me, when I get it closer to the frame, or to the camera it is, so. The frame that I mentioned the last time I saw you guys, I was able to get my work in, so I'm really glad that that worked out. It came with a foam board actually, so I didn't even have to like MacGyver anything. It was really nice. I have to pin it still. This is not pinned or laced, but I wanted to make sure that it did fit in the frame because the margins are very large. But as you can see, I personally think that the margins actually make it look really well framed. So, yay! This is gonna get officially on the wall once I lace and pin it. And now, da 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 da! Behold, the world's jankiest pillow. I finished this last night. It's been over 10 years since I've touched a sewing machine, and even then it was very rudimentary sewing. Like I did like a drawstring bag, I think. So I jumped into the deep end very quickly with this. It actually wasn't too difficult to figure out once I started going though. I did only use Pellin interfacing for the cross stitch portion. I did not use interfacing for the back fabric. I had already put the iron away before I realized that I probably should have used interfacing for it, but from what I've read, it's personal preference, I guess, so I don't feel too bad. I don't think it makes or breaks this, especially as my first pillow. Grace, one of our roommates, has a very old Viking sewing machine, so I used that. It got the job done. So I also ended up doing this kind of late in the afternoon, and it was starting to snow. As you can tell, it's cloudy. I actually don't know if you can tell with the lighting, but it's very cloudy, overcast today, and it was the same yesterday, and it started to snow by the time I started to work on this. So I was rushing I wasn't rushing, but I was definitely fighting for light. But I tried to use ribbon, and as you can tell, that went in a direction for sure. Kind of ended up crooked. I did 0 back stitching on this, so only only one kind of direction for me on this. I filled it. As you can see, there is the most atrocious whip stitch where I closed the pillow. I filled this 50-50 with polyfill and crushed walnuts to add kind of a weight to it. I might add a little more to the pillow, for, like both fills next time. I was worried that I was going to overstuff it, but honestly, I think I could probably add more to the corners just to kind of fluff it out a little bit more. Either way, it's a success. My first pillow. Now this is just a regular finish. This is my 2025 Stitch for Pride. It's January's Elagabalus. I finished this. So I'm counting these as mini finishes because there's 12 parts to the sow. And I'm stitching this on 18 count resistance by Mislaid Pages, and I'm doing the DMC conversion. So, yay. Except, I should say, I decided for the rose petals, I'm doing, I did 352, which I believe is light coral or medium coral, because I wanted the contrast for the rose petals. I thought that would be fun. So yeah, I felt the peachy pink color was appropriate. Let's move on to whips. I did work a little bit, the teeniest amount, on the riddle. Sorry, this is still in the Q-snap and nothing is ironed because I'm lazy, so it's fine. I worked more on her wing. This, I believe, is close to the bottom, if not the bottom of her wing. So, yeah, I literally just, actually, this is all I've done. I worked on this at work a little bit one day, a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah. I don't even think this is 100 stitches. This is probably closer to 50. So, 50 to 80 maybe. But I worked on it. I'm loving the geometrical shape, though, of the wings. So, I'm doing this on 18 count vintage from BeStitchMe, and I am using Roxy Floss Co. Hitting Snooze. It's dark brown, almost black. So my other whip currently is Nature Walk Witching Hour from Sprouting Lupine. I'm loving working on this project, but it is kind of on my back burner right now while I work on my gifts, my birthday presents. But here's where I'm at. Last time I had not started the outline of the beetle, and then I think I only had like the top of the flower petals. So I worked more on getting these outer petals done and the outline of the beetle. And I think actually I added these tiny flowers here. So I really am loving working on this. This is 14 count tarnish by Picture This Plus. It's very enjoyable to work on. But like I said, this is kind of a back burner project since I've got so much done on it, kind of ahead of schedule with the goal that I've set for it, that I have just kind of put it on the back burner while I work on other things that have due dates, essentially. Starts. What have I started? I've started technically 3 things. Like I mentioned, 2 of which are from the Magical Cross Stitch book from Lindsay Swearingen, also known as Tuscan Cardinal on Instagram. And I don't know, guys. This is my roadblock. Okay. I started Mushroom Misfortune, and as some of you know, I was so excited to start this, but I am struggling. I am struggling really hard with this. And I don't know exactly what it is, because I'm also kind of struggling with the other pattern, so it might just be that because this is my first time working with a printed pattern. I fell in love with this pattern the moment that I laid eyes on it. So I love the finished look of it, but I am not enjoying stitching this. I am doing this 1/1 on 20 count charcoal Aida from Zweigart with called for DMC. I originally really liked how dainty and small these stitches were. I started with the ribbon, and then I worked my way down. I don't know if this is the pattern for such small stitches though, you guys. I've already miscounted twice. One on this mushroom and then one on this mushroom. And actually I think on this mushroom too. God. It's just not going great. And I really am not sure I want a frog on 20 count 1/1. It makes me sad because like I said, I really, really like the pattern. It's darling. So I'm just not vibing with this. So I'm gonna put this on the back burner. Let it simmer for a bit, I guess. I'll come back later, see how I feel. I don't know how long that's gonna be. Maybe I will inevitably just end up scrapping and starting over because I do want to do this pattern. I might do it on just like an 18 count instead and see how that goes. But it's kind of a bummer. I don't know what it is. I was working on this, and then as I was wrapping up for the night, it kind of hit me that I'm like, this is not going well for me. And I had a moment of, is this where I lose my bug? Is this where I end up dropping this hobby because I'm not enjoying this? Fortunately, I can say with confidence, no. Because I am working on Wheel of the Year from the same book. And don't get me wrong, it is also giving me some problems. And that, I think, is just because I can't fucking count to save my life. However, the difference being, I'm really enjoying working on this. So this is Wheel of the Year, again, from the same book, from Magical Cross Stitch. And I am loving how this is turning out, y'all. I'm doing the called for DMC. And the model was done on black Aida, but I am doing this on 16 count Lake Lanier from Witch's Garden Crafts. And in my opinion, this is such a perfect combination. The blue gradient to the purple gray, I love. I think it, because of how it's kind of split down the middle here. I think it works out perfect to split up the sabots. I centered the moon here. Here, where the two parts meet, and just kind of went from there. And I'm working my way backwards from the sabots because I started this on in bulk, and I started here with the branches, and then I added the candles, and then I'm working backwards. So I then started Yule, and I finished sewing last night. And truly, this is also giving me problems because I don't know where, but I have miscounted somewhere, and everything is just slightly off by 1 or 2 count, like 2 stitches, because this pumpkin here, it should not be touching the arrow. Neither should this pumpkin down here next to the moon. I'm so sorry. Next to the moon. That should not be touching either, but it is. So somewhere something smushed. I know I miscounted up here. I added too many. Oh gosh, sorry. Here. On this branch, I added too many diagonals, and so this pine branch is almost touching. Should not be doing that. So yeah, I've miscounted somewhere. It's not the end of the world because each section, like each motif is in its own section, so it's not technically gonna like throw the whole pattern off, but it is just something that I can notice. But at the end of the day, it's not affecting the pattern as a whole, so I don't really care. What I care is that it looks good, and it does. And I'm also okay, I don't care how my back looks, but I am practicing being mindful of how my back ends up. So here, sorry, hang on. Let me put something to the back of this. Here's how my back looks. The moon is kind of all over the place because I kind of forgot what I was doing in terms of making sure how my back ends up, but overall, like I said, I'm using this as practice to make sure I am conscious of how I stitch for like moving across a pattern, since I'm using the Dutch style a lot for this, since I'm not using variegated threads. Some of it I am using, on some of it I'm using the English stitch, but most of this, like all of the pumpkins are Dutch, and so is the tombstone. So doing that, I'm just trying to be mindful of where I put my needle so that it doesn't like create a diagonal. And sometimes it's inevitable. Sometimes you are just going to have to deal with a diagonal back stitch, or stitch on the back, I guess. But either way, Wheel of the Year. Truly loving how this is turning out. I am enjoying the process of it. This is 2/1 on 16 count, so I don't know if that's the like between these two. Honestly, I am not sure what is causing such disdain and frustration with this, where this I'm just vibing and having a good time, even with the miscounts. So this is gonna go on a break. This I have to continue because this is a present. It's for my mom's birthday in early April. So that's part of the reason I forgot to mention. That's part of the reason why I'm working backwards with the sabots instead of forward, because Easter is here on the wheel, and Easter this year is April 20th. So it's really late this year. But I can gauge how long I need, knowing that Easter is the last Sabbath that I have to work on. So that's not going to be a problem, in my opinion. I told myself, if I can finish Mabon, which is next, by the end of February, I'll be in a good spot. I am absolutely going to finish Mabon by the end of February. I'm not concerned about that. My last start is the February Stitch for Pride. I started Hatshepsut, I believe is how you pronounce her name. She was the one of the ancient Egyptian pharaohs. A lot of information on her had been purposefully destroyed by her son. I'm not finished reading all of her lessons yet that Dee has included with this pattern. I remember reading about her in my anthropology class in college, and just how amazing of a pharaoh she was. She did a ton of stuff. I am doing the sampler, spot sampler, so I'm not doing these as individual, on individual fabric. So I started with her crown on the eagle and worked my way down, did the outline, and I just need to finish up her wing, and then I will add the ankh, which I think I'm going to follow. I think I'm just gonna, if there is an additional symbol or like motif in the pattern, I am going to make it a contrasting or complementary color to the whoever is for that month. So I'm thinking I'm going to do a dark gold for the ankh, potentially, unless I can find a silver that works better. But depending on the color scheme, as I continue the reading, if I find something better, I think I'm going to go with a dark gold. But yeah, I am very happy, truly, with how this is turning out. I love how the DMC conversion looks. It's pops very well off of this fabric, in my opinion. And this is a smaller stitch count compared to Elagabalus. She was 1,200 and this is about 800 to 900-ish, so it's much smaller. So I'm not complaining because I got those deadlines with gifts. Moving on to haul. I need you all to observe this floss drop that I picked up from 123 Stitch when I ordered a bunch of fabric, or not fabric, floss. He's so funky. He is so funky. I love him. Look at him. I showed Sean and he's like, is that cat okay? And I said, I don't know. I don't care. I love him. And I also really like this floss drop because it's like a plywood. So I've added on the back washi tape and just the DMC, or the numbers for the DMC. So yeah, he's good. He's great. It's very convenient, actually. Next, I picked up this. It's Mocha from BeStitchMe, 28 count linen. I'm going to use this as my practice stitch to learn how to stitch on linen. And that is going to be my Valentine Day start, which I will talk about shortly. And then my fabric for the Court of Crows sal came in. I got this from Witch's Garden Crafts. It is 18 count caw. I love this royal purple. It's kind of getting washed out from the light, but you can really see the modeling on it. It's so great. I'm very, very excited to start this. The frames get released on the 21st this month, and I will be jumping on that immediately. I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. I'm including this in haul, but this is a good segue into plans as well. It's a good, this was a quick turnaround, but I spent hours searching for a good pattern for my mother-in-law for her birthday. That wasn't too big, so that I could finish it by her birthday at the end of March. So this is Robin's Spring by Robin Pickens. It is from her seasonal courier series. So there's 4 birds, one for each season. This is spring. I want to do Blackbird's Autumn as well. I love it. It's so cute. There is, I believe, a blue jay for summer and then a cardinal for winter. I might get the urge to do those 2, but the Blackbird's Autumn one really stuck out to me. That'll come in the future, but this is going to be worked on as soon as the rest of the DMC I ordered for it comes in, because literally I only have the white and I think some of the brown for the Robin. So, like I said, segue into plans. So I am going to be doing this on 14 count Vintage Country Cream from Zweigart. This is like one of the first fabrics that I picked up. So it is kind of stiff there. I don't know if you can tell, but there is very, very slight modeling on it here in the top. It's an off cream white, so I figured, because the called for fabric for this is 25 count Lugana Vintage Cross Stitch Cloth from Lori Holt for Zweigart Prim. Either way, it's an off-white fabric. It's like a dirty linen fabric basically, and the white, I think it's creamy yellow enough that the white on this flower won't get lost and the yellow will still get picked up. But so this is probably getting started this afternoon, if I'm being honest with you guys, because, well, actually, if I can figure out placement for the flower, I might get a very small start on this, because like I said, most of the DMC I need, I do not have. So I gotta wait for that. I ordered that on Friday. Today is Sunday. So I should be getting that mid next week. Anyway, though, moving on, Valentine's Day start is happening. As I said, I am going to be working on this 28 count mocha from BeStitchMe, and I am going to be doing Lover's Promenade, which I will show here, from Sprouting Lupine. I've mentioned this before in my previous video. I saw this and I immediately knew that I had to work on this. So I got all of my floss, put it on the spring. Yes, I'm using bobbins on as a floss drop because I don't have more acrylic floss drops. But this palette, I was showing Sean, I'm like, this palette is delicious. This is a fantastic Valentine's Day palette. It's not too pinky, it's bright. I'm excited. So this is going to be my Valentine's Day start. As I mentioned as well, this is for Court of Crows Sal. I am still hitting that up slowly because I am lazy. I just finished placing my order of DMC for that as well. That will be delivering soon. So once I get that sorted into floss drops, I should be delivering next week, I think, as well. That will be ready for the 21st. As far as future kit ups, I have just the fabric, which is Garden Crafts on her Etsy during the California, like the Los Angeles fires, did a sale, and I picked up Grief is Love Preserving. And this is just a fantastic message, I think, in general, outside of the fires, just with the state of the world. So I really, really want to stitch this. So I believe I will be doing that on this 14 count Spellbound from, I believe, Atomic Ranch? No, sorry, Forbidden Fiber Club Co. I don't know if I'm going to do the called for, if I'm going to do a conversion or something, but this is next on my to plan list, essentially. I am part of Foxy Floss Co.'s Patreon. I still have Pixel Prelude set up to, that's kitted. That's ready to go, essentially. I just need to start it. But they released the pattern for Mushroom Cottage, and I immediately fell in love. It's such a cute pattern. So I picked up this fabric as well. It is this is 18 count Jade from Picture This Plus. It's a very soft emeraldy color. I think it's perfect. So that is going to be next to kit on my list. But honestly, my whips are kind of starting to compile, and that's kind of concerning me. I can absolutely see how this snowballs because there's just so many things that I want to work on and start. So my goal for the next couple of weeks is to finish February's Stitch for Pride. I literally have less than 300 or 400 stitches left to put in Hatshepsut, so I will finish that probably in a day or two, and then get some solid progress done on my gifts. I'm really enjoying, like I said, I'm really enjoying Wheel of the Year, so I'm not concerned about meeting any sort of goals for that. I can see myself getting a lot done on that in the next couple of weeks. I told myself to make sure I finish Mabon by the end of February. I probably will finish Mabon by the end of next week, if I'm being honest with myself, which is good because that gives me a little bit more time to focus on Robin's Spring, or Spring's Robin's Spring, because the progress on that for me is going to be a little bit harder to determine. So I think if I can finish the border, so this corner and then this, by the end of February, I'll be in good shape. The colors are bright, which I like. It's vastly different color palette from Wheel of the Year. So I think because they're two different, both are very different from each other, it'll be easy to stitch on both simultaneously because they're not the same palette. Since those two are underway, they're going to be my focus until I'm done with them. I'm likely overshooting how much time I need, but I'd rather finish them early so I have enough time to fully finish them, because I'm going to be having to frame them both myself, and I still need to find frames for them. Like, I have no idea how I'm going to frame either of these. My goal for Wheel of the Year is to find a oval frame, just because I think it would look nice. For Robin's Spring, it looks like this is a flat finish in a frame. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna try and find like a white rustic frame likely for this. Maybe. I do like this wooden frame, so either way. Finding frames is hard because I don't leave the house to just peruse things. So this is going to force me to go and leave the house. I also have one other thing that I need to finish. I need to finish Moonlit Owl for my friend for her birthday, which is at the end of February. I've ordered the hoop, and I have the fabric to back it. So honestly, next time I see you guys, I'll have that finished and I'll have handed that off to her by then. So, that is it for cross stitch. If you are interested in hearing about my other hobbies that I'm currently partaking in, you are welcome to stay. Otherwise, please feel free to go, and I appreciate the time that you decided to hang out. Moving on to gaming. I have basically just been gaming when I'm not stitching. Last time I mentioned I've been playing Marvel Rivals. There is a there's an event currently going on. It's the Midtown Dracula event, and they've very generously released like 4 or 5 skins for different characters. And never did I think I would be a Bucky player, but here we are because, hello, I love him. I am not ashamed. I love him. So now I'm learning how to play Bucky. Am I good at him? No. I need to be good at him, though, so I can justify getting this skin. I've also been playing Fields of Mystria, which, if you are in the cozy farming sim community, I'm sure you've heard of it. It is a beautiful callback to early farming sim games like Harvest Moon. It takes on a very retro 90s style of art and music, and it's a beautiful collaboration of the two. Has great characters. World lore is pretty generic. Generic enough to understand, but it's still interesting because in the world, a lot of it is lost. You're basically uncovering like what happened to all of this magic and what happened to a lot of the civilizations as you're helping rebuild this town after it was hit by a earthquake. So it's currently in early access. They do have a roadmap available. The next major patch, I believe, is going to be sometime in March. Because it's early access, I don't know how much I'm going to be regularly playing it because not all of the content is available, obviously. And I don't know if I'm going to necessarily want to replay all of that content again when the full game releases. Either way, I'm really enjoying it. If you are the type of person who vibes with games like Stardew Valley, Coral Island, Harvest Moon, all of those like very comfy farming sim games, Fields of Mystria is up your alley, I guarantee you. And then last game that I've kind of been cycling through is Persona 3 Reload. I restarted it because I've been in an RPG, like a turn-based RPG mood for the last like half a year, but I finished the first Final Fantasy last year, and I was going to move immediately into 2. I'm playing them through Steam, so they're like the console remastered versions. So I didn't really feel like I was ready to pick up a game like Final Fantasy specifically that does not have obvious objective markers or goals in the game itself. Like, a lot of the early Final Fantasy relies on you picking up clues and tells from the world. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I had to use a walkthrough for like 75% of the first Final Fantasy game, so I imagine that's gonna be similar for when I start Final Fantasy 2. But I was like, you know what, I want to pick up Persona again. I was streaming it, but since it's a story game, it is easier, in my opinion, to just play it on my own, so that, because I can play it at my own pace instead of being like, okay, I've got to put this down, I can't pick it up again until I'm ready to stream again. That didn't work out. So the Persona series is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, which they both have very heavy themes, and you do play as high school children, which is kind of the point. A lot of the message is fighting the man, like fighting the bigger evil person, essentially. I won't get into it, though. There is, like I said, a lot of heavy themes. Like, if you've seen any promotion for Persona 3, especially, the first and biggest trigger warning I can offer you is suicide ideation, because yeah. So check the trigger warnings if you want to look into it. I personally love this game. I am having a great time playing it. I am all about dismantling society's literal demons. So, like I said, if you're interested, definitely check it out. I'm playing it on Steam right now. I know it's available on console as well. Yeah, it's great. I'm having a blast. And lastly, I still have not picked out colors for my Pokemon TCG cabinet. I don't want to talk about it. We were at Ace Hardware the other day, and I was like, maybe I'll pick up some paint. I looked at the prices, and I said, never mind. And we left. So, we're not there yet, I guess. Okay, so that's everything I have for you today. I think I'm going to stick to doing these between 2 to 3 weeks for scheduling, because this is less than an hour and not an hour and a half, and I think that's a lot more manageable. And again, I'm long-winded, as you can tell, so that's partially the reason, but either way, that's everything I have for you. I appreciate that you decided to hang out with me today. A lot of things continue to change out in the world and challenge many of us, but remember, joy is an act of resistance. You are loved. Stay safe. Take care. And now, da 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 da. Let's try that again.